if you went through and found this, if you find that this is a certain number, I wrote down 2 decimal places here. In my calculator, I kept all of them. I couldn't think of any way to write it other than that. If you round it here, if you round a number and then you raise it to the 10th power, it's going to make your answer quite far off. A couple decimal places different here, like in the hundredths place or the thousandths place, is going to make a big difference over here. So that's why I would suggest you don't round till the very end. Technically, there's actually 2 possible answers. Guys, there are actually 2 answers because it could be plus or minus here. If you put in, it won't matter on the top, right? Because you raise it to the 10th power, that doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, but it'll matter on the bottom. To be able to get to this is a pretty high level question right now to realize that there's 2 answers first of all, in this case. And to get them both, you need to realize that you need to find that ratio first. The other one, this is in that binder at the front there, if you want to check after. The other one, I didn't write down a whole lot for this, but the thing starts here and then it bounces up, as I said, and it's 3/4 of the height every time, right? That's 100. This is 75. This is 75, and so on, right? You have 2 of each of the distances, except the first one. It didn't go up the first time. If I use A as 100, I want term 8 here. If I use A as 75, I want term 7, because it says after the 7th bounce. This 100 is before the first bounce. So if I want the right term, I got to think after the 7th bounce. It means I need the 8th one here before the 8th bounce. Or if I'm using 75, 75 is after the first bounce. So then this is after the 7th. Whichever way you want to do it, you should come up with that same number. Guys, if you want to solve this one, if you start with 100, then I want before it says when it contacts the floor the 7th time, I want all the distances, including the first one here. When it contacts the floor, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I don't want anything after that. I have to count how many terms I'm using, you have to think about how many terms you're using depending on what you do. If you're using 75 as the first one, you can calculate it this way. If you're using 100, you can calculate it this way.